Hey, welcome back to Hill and Pond's YouTube channel. I'm attorney Rachel Cheek. Today, we're going to be covering one of the hot topic items of the extensive PACT Act of 2022, the burn pit presumptions. So, if you've been paying attention to the news, you may have heard some tidbits related to burn pits. These might ring a bell. The passage of the PACT Act, Jon Stewart's activism, along with our very good friend Carrie Baker. The fact that President Biden's son, Beau, served in Iraq and later passed away from brain cancer. All of these things are part of the burn pit conversation that's been going on. So today we're going to discuss what VA disability benefits you may be eligible for thanks to the PACT Act, which, by the way, is the largest healthcare and benefit expansion in VA history. This bill is huge, which is why it's taken some time to digest the language so we can put together these explanations. We're going to have tons of videos on this subject. This act is very extensive, so there's no way that one video could cover it. But I'm talking about burn pits. So before we begin, let's go ahead over what that actually is. It's pretty simple. A burn pit is a large trash pile that has been set on fire deliberately, typically with jet fuel, to eliminate waste. So this was common in the Gulf War era and for operations in Southwest Asia. From the very beginning, this was intended to be a temporary solution to the waste management of our troops overseas, but that's not what happened. It's not the same thing as, I don't know if any of you have ever been to the country, but somebody may be burning trash in their backyard. We're talking multiple burn pits and we're talking multiple very hazardous things that were burned. So instead of this just being a temporary solution, more and more burn pits started popping up and expanding in size. Some reached multiple football fields in size, and they burned everything in burn pits. And I mean everything. So typical trash, metals, batteries, plastics, medical waste, hazardous waste, munitions waste, and even human waste. And that's not all. Basically, if there was no need for it, they burnt it. So as you can imagine, these types of materials being burnt creates some pretty unpleasant fumes and breathing situations for the soldiers who were exposed to it. For many years, veterans pointed out these problems, but they were denied help and the government refused to assist. I can't tell you how many burn pit related calls we've had over the years, but there have been some changes. This PACT Act brought huge ones, including expanding eligibility for VA healthcare to toxic exposed veterans of the Gulf War and post 9/11 eras. This healthcare expansion started with more than 20 new presumptive conditions for burn pits and other toxic exposures our veterans underwent. Additionally, VA is required now to provide a toxic exposure screening to every veteran enrolled in VA healthcare. And now, if you're a veteran or survivor of a veteran from a Gulf War post 9/11 era, you can file service-connected disability claims and apply for these PACT Act benefits. When I say presumptive conditions, that refers to medical conditions that the VA has assumed to be related to your time in service. If you're a Vietnam veteran, you're probably aware about Agent Orange toxic presumption conditions. Instead of having to show exactly how your presumptive condition developed or was related to your exposure, if you are granted presumptive benefits, essentially the VA is saying all you have to do is show where you were and what condition you have now. That middle step, how the condition developed, doesn't matter. So essentially what's happened for the Vietnam veterans who finally were recognized to be exposed to Agent Orange is happening for younger veterans returning home from the Gulf Wars. So this can only be done, these presumptive conditions can only be added when they're established by law. And so now that the PACT Act is signed, the VA is forced to face the truth. So let's start and go over some of the 20 plus medical conditions that the VA must now presume was caused by your exposure to burn pits in the service. There's multiple cancers that are addressed, including cancers of the brain, head, gastrointestinal system, kidney, lymphatic system, skin, cervix, pancreas, the reproductive organs of any type, and the respiratory system. There are also many non-cancer respiratory issues that have been added to the presumptive list. These respiratory issues include asthma diagnosed after service, chronic bronchitis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, better known as COPD, chronic rhinitis, chronic sinusitis, constrictive bronchiolitis or obliterative bronchiolitis, emphysema, granulomatosis disease, interstitial lung disease, also known as ILD, pleuritis, pulmonary fibrosis, and sarcoidosis. All right, so those are the conditions. Let's go over what are the requirements to get service connected for these on a presumptive basis. You've got to meet the following criteria. You served in the first Gulf War era. That means for the period beginning on or after August 2nd, 1990, you served in any of these locations: Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, and the airspace above any of these locations. So that means even if you were on flying missions above these locations, you could be eligible for this. So those areas are all entitled to these presumptions starting in 1990 and continuing to the present day. However, there's some more conditions that were added. There's some more locations that were added to the presumptive list beginning after September 11th, 2001. So basically, if you served after that date in any of these locations as well, you'll be entitled to the presumptive. Locations include Afghanistan, Djibouti, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Uzbekistan, Yemen, and the airspace above any of those locations. So remember, these locations are only eligible for the burn pit presumptions if you served in these places after 2001. However, from now going all the way back to 1990, if you served in Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, or the UAE, you'll be entitled for benefits. Basically, just think of it, in 2001, we added some new locations. That does not change the prior locations. The PACT Act additionally brings free VA healthcare eligibility to even more veterans. So you're definitely encouraged to apply in spite of your separation date. It's not something we typically assist on because we choose to focus on service-connected claims for disability benefits, but it's something worth mentioning. It's a benefit that's available to you. It's something you need to look into. But the qualifiers for being able to receive free VA healthcare services is going to meet at least one of the criteria outlined by VA. So you either served in a theater of combat during a period of war after the Persian Gulf War, or you served in combat against a hostile force during a period of hostilities after November 11th, 1998. And this is the most important, you were discharged on or after October 1st, 2013. So what about Gulf War veterans who were in these areas and were discharged before October 2013? Well, you're going to want to pay close attention and maybe even check out our Helen Ponton blog or the VA's PACT Act page to follow along. So there's a special enrollment period for veterans who are discharged prior to October 1st, 2013. This enrollment period is only a year long, and it goes from October 1st, 2022 to October 1st, 2023. So during that period, you can enroll in benefits, but you have to meet the following criteria. You served in a theater of combat operations during a period of war after the Persian Gulf War, or you served in combat against a hostile force during a period of hostilities after November 11th, 1998. And this must be true for you. You were discharged or released between September 11th, 2001 and October 1st, 2013, and you haven't enrolled in VA healthcare before. So that's the eligibility criteria for the expansion to access to VA healthcare. Let's go ahead and jump into some questions we've gotten from veterans regarding burn pits in the PACT Act. So one of those, how do I file a VA claim for a new presumptive condition? Just the same way you always would. You can file a claim online, in person, with a VSO, or by mail. You need a VA Form 21526EZ to start. What if I already filed a burn pit claim that got denied for a condition that is now presumptive? For this, you are going to want to file the VA's form for a supplemental claim. Basically, that is the form that you file when you are trying to reopen a claim that you have already been denied for and the appeal period's over. So say you applied in 2005 for these benefits and were denied. You would not want to file 526EZ. You would want to file a supplemental claim. Along with that, you need new evidence. You could simply cite the PACT Act as the new evidence that warrants opening this claim again. Now, VA says they're going to try to contact you if they denied you before and you may be eligible for the benefits, but don't hold your breath on that. You should be proactive. We all know how things slip through the cracks in VA. Don't wait for them to contact you if you think this is something that you might be eligible for. So this leads to my last point. Since we in Hill & Taunton can help you get started. We've represented thousands of Gulf War veterans for VA disability compensation, and we're always going to continue the fight. So another question we get is, when will PACT Act related claims go into effect? The VA has said on their website that they plan on starting the processing of PACT Act benefits and claims in January 2023. However, you should start filing now if you haven't already. This is because there's not really line skipping in the VA. Essentially, the order that the claims are filed is the order that the VA is going to process them. So don't wait to file your claim just because it's August 2022. File it now. Even if the VA doesn't start processing until January 2023, you want to have yours already in the queue. This is also because if you win your service-connected claim, you're also going to be owed a lump sum of retroactive compensation that goes back to the date that you filed your claim. So basically, if you file your claim now in August 2022, you're eventually granted benefits. The effective date will go back to the date that you filed the claim. If you wait until January 2023 to file and you're eventually granted, that's 4 months of benefits that you could have been receiving, and that would be added onto your monthly compensation had you filed in August. Another really important question that we get is, does the PACT Act expand benefits for survivors of veterans who passed away from Gulf War toxic exposure? Yes, it does. You may be eligible for a DIC claim. You can watch our video on DIC for dependents here. Additionally, you may be eligible for burial benefits, burial allowance, education and training, healthcare through CHAMP VA, and VA-backed home loans. We've also covered these dependent benefits in a separate video. If you click up here, you can check out our dependent benefits video. And finally, my last point is that we in Hill & Taunton can help you get started. We've represented thousands of Gulf War veterans for VA disability compensation, and we're going to continue the fight for these vets. Okay, that's all I have today. If you have any other questions on burn pits or any other aspect of the PACT Act, let us know in the comments. We may not be able to reply to everyone, but we do try to keep an eye out and answer what we can. And please stay tuned to our channel because we're going to continue doing specialized videos about specific aspects of the PACT Act. It's huge. There's many different factors that are mentioned in this act, so we can't possibly break them down in just one video. And thanks for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and share with your loved ones if this video helped you. Until next time, I'm attorney Rachel Cheek. Bye.